I welcome you all once again in our video 2 on project formulation and appraisal. Our video 1 was on what is project, how to get an idea, how to formulate it, and in our video 2 we will talk about feasibility, as well as in video 3 also we'll talk about some feasibility and appraisal. So I, Dr. Satish Kumar Mittal, welcome you all. I'm senior faculty with Gautam Buddha University and will discuss this topic with you people. So what will be the content of this topic in this particular video? We'll talk about technical feasibility, marketing feasibility, management feasibility, environmental feasibility study, and then economic feasibility, financial feasibility, and some other issues will be discussed in our third video. Let's recap quickly what we covered. Remind in our mind what we covered previously about project, what is project, what are features of project, then project process, idea, then its formulation and preparing project report to initiate a project. What is feasibility? Let's start with this. Feasibility is a study in an evaluation of a proposal designed to determine the difficulty in carrying out a designated task. Generally, a feasibility study precedes technical development and project implementation. A feasibility study looks at the viability of an idea with an emphasis on identification of potential problems, attempts to answer one main question: will the idea work? Should we proceed with it? So feasibility actually is finding the possibility or estimating the possibility to what extent our project will be successful, to what extent our project will be initiated well, to what percent or what is the probability that our project will be financially, economically, market-based, viable and sustainable. Feasibility study is an analysis of problem to determine if it can be solved effectively. The result determine whether the solution should be implemented, and this activity take place during the project initiation phase and is made before significant expenses are engaged. The feasibility helps us in making a survey and to find out whether should we go ahead with this project, because project involves a lot of resources. The study needs input from many professional disciplines like technical, operational, legal, financial, government aspect, market aspects and many other aspects, HR diversification, and all this helps us to identify to make the feasibility of this project specified. What are the objectives of project feasibility? Feasibility study actually try to answer a very basic question: is it realistic to address the problem or initiate the project, or the opportunity that we have identified, should we consider that to convert into a business, and it produce a final proposal for the management, and this final report might include the following things, and which we will discuss. It include project name, problem or the opportunity that is available in the market which we want to tap in as a business. Project description is required for feasibility. Expected benefit, economic benefit, non-economic benefit, profits, revenues are required to be studied, estimated for our feasibility. Consequence of rejections: if the project fails with any reason, what will be the result out? Will the firm collapse? Will there be huge losses? Will we be able to survive? What are the probability of our project success? Resources requirements, various alternatives available to us, other considerations and theorization of the project is required under feasibility study. Why feasibility is required? As we discussed, feasibility study is required to find out the probability or the prospects or the chances to what extent our project will be successful. We don't need feasibility study if we find that the resources are unlimited and there is no time limit. If we have abundant resources, not only in money form, but all the resources, all 6 M's, man, material, machine, and others also. If they are in abundant, then we need not to worry about its feasibility. We can initiate as many projects as we wish. But unfortunately, most of the project must be delivered within a tight budget and the time constraints. And especially when we talk about developing countries, we have limited resources, we have limited trained staff, we have limited technical staff, we have limited technology, we have limited funds, we have limited markets. We need to explore all these things, and with these constraints we need a feasibility study testing whether our project will be successful or not. This means that assessing project feasibility is a required activity for all information system projects and is a potentially large undertaking. It requires that you as a system analyst evaluate a wide range of factors. Those factors can be anything: risk aspects, operational aspects, supply of input aspect. Maybe after some time supply of input is not there, and then the project will be in trouble. So all these things, legal aspects, then managerial aspects, whether we have that managerial skills, whether we have those resources which we want to use in our project in long run. If after inception of a project we want to develop a destination, what is the capacity of that destination to handle a tourist level? To what extent it can handle tourists? And can we enlarge it? Can we expand it? All these are issues under feasibility study that we need to identify, that we need to evaluate as an analyst, as a project manager before initiating a project. Further continuing, why feasibility study is required? To find it, there is adequate demand for the project's output. There should be sufficient demand. We may start a hotel with 100 rooms capacity, and at the destination tourist demand is less. Tourists don't seek accommodation there, and this is the problem that I try to identify, and I will discuss in detail at different point of time about accommodation or hotels in Agra, in Mathura. These destinations had a strength that they are near to Delhi, near to international airport, and that's why a lot of tourists are going there. At the same time, the same is becoming a weakness also, because they are near to Delhi. Tourists don't want to stay in Agra or in Mathura. Tourists want to visit there, want to see Taj Mahal, but by evening they want to return. So requirement, demand of the tourist or of the customer, to find if there is availability of sustainable technology, suitable technology and inputs, to find the best options. There can be several ways, several technologies. Few are costly, few are less costly, and we need to, as an analyst, as a project manager, we need to judge that which technology best suits to us based on cost, based on our requirement. To answer if the project meets the environmental regulation, then it can be sustainable. Otherwise, in long run, it may not survive, because nowadays environmental regulations are getting more strict, stringent, and priority of the nation, what country want, whatever India want. To examine the project's financial and economic viability is also a part of feasibility study. Few key factors which are important for feasibility study, and feasibility study must ensure that you are dealing with correct facts. Correct data should be there with you. Correct information should be there about past. Then correct assumptions that you make. Don't put your own bias or somebody's bias inside it. Otherwise, this may manipulate, and that's why many projects failed, because there are incorrect biases that yes, this will happen because I am initiating, it will be successful. No, let's check the ground realities, and up to date financial data is very much important for feasibility study. There are several projects in feasibility study, they passed, yes, they can happen, but they failed miserably, sunk by unexpected events, maybe like flood, maybe natural calamity ruin our project, or maybe some new legal laws comes in the market, maybe some technology changes are coming, like corona killed the tourism industry for more than 7-8 months. Miserably condition that it break to tourism industry, and we need to be more focusing on hygiene if we are attracting more tourists. Otherwise, it will be in big trouble. So many projects fail because of incorrect assumptions. Many times we feel that we are very much optimistic. Oh, tourists will come. Why will come? Is actually there a demand of that particular thing that we are developing? Likewise, in Delhi, Many theme-based parks like skiing park is developed in one mall. That did not work well. And children parks were developed. Low-cost children park worked well, but many did not work well. So we need to check those. In feasibility study, our preliminary investigation helps a lot. When complex problem or opportunities are to be defined, it is generally desirable to conduct a preliminary investigation, and this is very important part of feasibility study, and sometimes it is also called feasibility study. The primary objective of feasibility study is to assess many type of feasibility. What are those types? We will discuss a little later, which include technical feasibility, which include marketing feasibility, financial feasibility, economic feasibility, management feasibility, environmental feasibility, legal feasibility. Social analysis is also required, whether it is socially fit, because very important, and the destination that you are developing, will the local people will support that? What will be the impact on locals? Because in Goa, beach tourism was promoted well, but it cursed the local society with drugs, with alcohol, with abusing the local society, and now it is threatening the sustainability of beach tourism there. And that is the reason those need to be corrected. Area of analysis can also be, in technical analysis we need operational aspect, we need risk aspect. In case of market and marketing, we need demand, we need supply, we need categorization of tourists. All this we will study. Management analysis, do we have that management skill to initiate this project? Financial analysis, do we have sufficient resources to finance that project? Nowadays, a lot of fundings can come through crowdfunding, and we'll discuss what are these. And a lot of funds are raised through maybe cryptocurrencies. So many cryptocurrencies are coming. Lakshmi is for India. Facebook is coming with Libra. China is introducing its own cryptocurrency. Economic impact, positive impact, negative impact, what foreign exchanges will be earning, all those matters. Environmental analysis, all these matters are very important for the feasibility study. There are several components of feasibility study, and those are actually areas also, but to some extent it is a broader terminology in comparison to areas. So description of the business is very important. You need to describe whether it is legal, illegal. We need to describe to what extent or what service will be delivered or offered, and how will they be delivered. Is the process totally legal? Is the process totally supported by the local residents? Is the process in-friendly with local residents, in-friendly with local resources, in-friendly with input factors? Like this. Market feasibility, it includes a description of industry, current market, future anticipated market, potential market, competitors, sales, projections, and potential buyers, etc. that we will cover in detail. Technical feasibility includes how will you deliver a product or service, material, labor, transportation, technology, manpower, skills, location. All these things we will discuss a little later. Then financial feasibility, as I said, that financial feasibility is important, and very important thing is capital. Funds, to what extent funds will be required funds will be financed by owners, to what extent it will be taken on loan, then loan to of what time period, then working capital, day-to-day expenditure, how much funds are required, and like this. Organizational feasibility, define legal and corporate structure of the business, may also include professional background information about the founders, what skills they can contribute to the business. It also include which will be the suitable firm. We previously discussed various types of firms. Can we start with as a sole proprietor? Can we start it with as a company, or limited liability partnership firm, non-profit earning, or as a social entrepreneurship, maybe as a trust, maybe as a society, to avoid tax, to reduce tax liability or burden. Entrepreneur try to think of various forms of organizations or firm through which that project is initiated or expected to be initiated. Will that be feasible? Will that be viable? That is very important. And conclusions. Feasibility study should draw conclusion clearly whether this project will succeed To what extent? What are the probability? See, future is uncertain, future is unpredictable, but we need to forecast, we need to estimate to the extent we can with our analytical skill, because investors will finally, they will be behind your life if the project is not successful, if their money is lost. And this will reduce our future scope of success. If one project fails, then motivation, then financer, then all agencies raise their eyebrows, and then they say, no, they raise their eyebrow. No, your previous project failed. Why should we trust you for the next project? So all this in the project feasibility study, one should conclude very clearly what are the error possibility. Feasibility study starting actually require an experienced, suitable, skilled manager who will lead this feasibility study team. And then of course they need a team. They need a scope of the study. External advisors, consultancy may be required, plan and schedule of the study. We cannot spend a lot of time on feasibility study, because if we have total 6 months to produce the project, to complete the project, and we spend maybe 1 month in feasibility study, then it can be a big problem. Starting study as per plan and schedule, completing it, controlling study to complete as per the plan and schedule, so that later on, if a feasibility study find it is feasible to initiate this project, we should go ahead with that project, and then we need time to complete the project also. Area of analysis, as I said, there are several areas of analysis. Our first most important area is technical analysis, which include operational aspect and risk aspect. So let's discuss this. Technical feasibility is related to examine whether the project under study is technically feasible to set up, to operate, to produce service or product desired. For example, in agriculture project of apple farming, type of field, soil test, temperature required at selected locations, plantation distance, other technical points, variety of the seed are also need to be analyzed in detail. Likewise, another example, if we take in case of tea plantation started in Jammu also, in South India also, whereas the best tea that is considered is of Assam or West Bengal because of the climate, and that's why most of the companies are going there, because they are getting good quality tea there. So that is important under technical feasibility. Its purpose is to gain an outstanding of the organization ability to construct the proposed system. This analysis should include an assessment of the development group's understanding of the possible target hardware, software, operating environment to be used, as well as system size, complexity in the project, group's experience with similar systems for technical aspects, so that the feasibility can increase. It is important in this step to assess the risk involved in the project also. Choice of technological process, appropriate technology. Is the technology proven or well tested, or it is the new technology which may bring challenges or problems in near future? Does the technology, process or equipment technically fit with the facilities existing technology? That is very important. Otherwise, the whole new setup need to be established, and that may create a problem. List of recommended equipment, suppliers, reputation of the supplier, performance guarantees, those are really important point under technical aspect. It also includes locational aspect of the project, where it is located, availability of infrastructure facilities with the probable alternative locations. If that location do not suit, what can be the other locations? Likewise, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, announced that he will bring film industry or Bollywood in Delhi region, that is in Noida, because a new international airport is coming there, and he is identifying 1000 acre land there, location identified. Why that location? Because international airport is coming there in next 5 years, so initiation maybe. Then other locations people are identifying that it should be in interior in UP, Uttar Pradesh, and many others. Appropriate technology selection is very important based on for plant, machinery and other capital assets, maybe furniture, and other input. Availability of material inputs are there or not, electricity, water, fuel. Establishing the schedule of project implementation is also part of technological feasibility. Sequencing down activities is very important part of it. Processed may be by using decision tree, CPM, critical path method, PERT. These are the operation techniques. Like in critical path method, we try to measure or identify the maximum time that it can take, then shortest time that it can take. Under decision tree, we bifurcate the various activities in the project in sequence under various steps, under various activities, and then find out, isolate those activities, identify which resources are required for which activity, what costs are there, is that activity important. And there was management guru Taylor, who said, who was a management guru of scientific management, very importantly, and he said that we initiate many activities which are not actually required for that project or for that product or service. So those also filtering out unnecessary, not required activities is also part of technical aspect. Location aspect, let's discuss that of the project. Availability of infrastructure facility with probable alternative. So let's discuss these one by one. First, starting with location. Location, available of land, approach road is there, cost of that land, proximity in the market. Nowadays land is available, maybe one land is available maybe with 100 times cost than other land in nearby area. Proximity to the market is very important. Otherwise, approach of the customer, what will be that matters. Input factors is part of locational feasibility. Availability of transport, communication. Likewise, I give you an example. Very few Formula 1 race grounds are there in the world. Then ex-Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mayawati ji, had an idea that why not having a Formula 1 race ground in India, and preferably in UP. And she established one in Noida near Delhi, and Formula 1 race ground was established. And then she had a plan to bring international airport near to it. Then it is near to Delhi, the Gurgaon airport can also, then connectivity with Faridabad, Gurgaon, nearby area, then so that foreign tourists can come easily, and that is part of technical feasibility. And market approach. It need to consider appropriate technology. Selection of appropriate technology for plant and machinery is very important, and let's discuss this second point of technical aspect. It includes technology must be chosen based on availability of input factors, preferably in domestic market. If we depend on foreign input factors, and then problem change, scenarios change, problem may come. Likewise, many companies were depending on for low cost input factors from China. Nowadays, India really want to establish itself in competition to China, and we don't really appreciate that input factor comes from China. Size and capacity of the facility to be created is also important. For example, a tour operator conducting a sightseeing tours must choose between 12-seater or 36-seater bus, depending on expected tourist inflow, both in peak and lean season. And not only this, he need to focus on in which area that bus will go. He take big bus and then in hilly area, that creates a problem. That may be troublesome. So that need to be carefully consideration of demand fluctuation, and then input factor is very important part of technical feasibility. Then third aspect is input, availability of material, resources and other input like electricity, water, fuel, etc. need to be discussed, which is very essential for success of a project. Because if basic amenities are not there, then in long run project may not be successful, may not be viable, may not be cost effective, may not be producing the desired results, may not bring that expected satisfaction to the tourist as is required. Raw material, labor, capital, not only money, capital include many things. Availability of input factor in right quantity as well as in right quality. Likewise, if you talk about diamond industry in India, the whole world diamond industry, wherever diamonds are produced, they are processed in India, and Surat is very famous for it, and we can develop a very good destination for sightseeing of such industries in Surat or nearby area. Regular supply of essential input is also very important, and the quality which quality we are having input factor. Enterprise must enter into contract with suppliers well in advance for regular supply at a fixed cost, preferably fixed cost, may not be fixed cost always in long run, and may also create its own resources of supply if possible. I give an example of sugar industry. You know well that all the sugar mills in India are in loss. They are producing sugar from sugarcane, whereas many countries have sugar industry profitable. Then we made a comparison, why not sugar mills have a tourist destination, sightseeing, visits. Many tourists would like to see how sugar is produced. Then sugar cane, when sugar is produced, there is molasses from which wine can be produced, and then sugar mill can have along with a distillery with it, and then the left out thing can be converted into bricks by burning it, by having turbines. Electricity can be generated. Some nearby area electricity inputs can also be there, and the supply of electricity to the sugar mill can also be done with its own resources, and this can be a complete package to make the industry revival, and tourism can play a very important role with tourist visits. So next technical aspect is establishing a schedule of the project implementation. As I discussed, through various techniques it can be done. It includes process of assessing the degree to which potential time frame and completion dates of all major activities within a project which meet the organizational deadlines and constraints of the resources and affecting challenges. The purpose is to gain an understanding of the project likelihood that all potential time frames and completion date schedules can be met for the success of the project. So scheduling feasibility include timeline, maybe government deadlines, maybe industry deadlines, maybe likewise in case of corona vaccine, there is a market pressure. If you don't bring the vaccine in next few months, of the disease is coming in the market, maybe competitor bring it, or maybe need is no more there. So that is very important. So last one in technical aspect is risk and operational aspect, which includes risk need to be managed in order to minimize the risk. Risk can be operational risk, it can be technological failure risk, it can be financial feasibility risk, risk can be business risk, controllable risk, non-controllable risk, then systematic risk, unsystematic risk, international risk, political risk, government change, plan change, project change, so many things. So failure to adequately integrate the new project system with existing hardware, software or organizational procedure helps in success of the project. And then risk measurement. If we have high familiarity with the technological aspect, with the technology required, with the input factor required, in large project as well as in small project, then the risk is low. If low familiarity with the technological aspect, with input factors, then risk is high. In large project, risk is very high. In small project, risk is high but may not be that much. So operational feasibility is part of technical feasibility. So we concluded that technical feasibility is very, very important, and normally it is assessed by technical experts. Next is demand market feasibility. Market feasibility is very important. It include demand, it include market, it include marketing skills, and it include the customer requirement, expectations, taste, preferences, to what extent he spends on one destination. Likewise, in case of religious tourism, tourists do not spend a lot at religious places. And that's why revenue generation model fails there in many cases. So it includes target market. What will be the target market? It refers to the availability identification set of the individual's domestic market. Market segmentation is required, maybe for price discrimination, maybe for markets to generate more revenues from the market. Market share from this project, to what extent you will cover the market, what proportion of market share will come to you for that specific product and service need to be assessed. If it is bringing more market share, then project can be initiated. Should government made 6-lane fast track roads Should proposed cement factory plant be able to produce to what extent of production of the market, how many rooms to be built in a hotel at a particular destination. These are examples and based on demand. If you do not focus on demand and you create any service, maybe there is a gap and demand is less and supply is more, then cost is more, revenue will be less. Market and demand analysis will go parallel. Then marketing skills may promote demand, may increase revenues, but that depends upon future expectations and future possibilities, which include analysis of mainly demand of the product and services, share of unfulfilled demand, demand of forecasting, and many others, distribution mechanism, etc. Then demand forecasting is very important because the project is initiated for future to deliver the service in future, so forecasting is important. And let's discuss in brief that, which include market survey, experts' opinion, Delphi technique. Under Delphi technique, we repeatedly ask various experts and we try to reach to a conclusion, yes, this will be the demand. Trend analysis, then statistically we use correlation analysis. Observation method can also be done if the product or such service is there in market somewhere. Then content analysis, and these are various techniques. And then management analysis include, do we have sufficient qualified managers, maybe technically, maybe legally, so that they play a good role to complete our project. Environmental analysis, as we discussed time to time, that various environmental issues nowadays are very important because pollution creating industries are not appreciated, and fortunately tourism industry is not pollution creating industry because it is service industry. Yes, sometime it in social aspects are there that it tourists ruin the natural beauty of the destination, but for long term sustainability, social aspect is local people, service providers, industries, entrepreneurs should educate tourists that not to ruin the natural beauty because they are there for natural beauty. So social aspect is also important, which include sometime cause social impact, revenues to the local people if it increase. If it is not increasing revenue to local people, that may be a threat to the success of the project. And whether there is positive or negative impact, culture is spoiled. Likewise, you can find that many states are not promoting tourism because they are not really willing to expose their local culture to the tourists, and that can be a hindrance. So in this video we discussed technical aspect, social aspects, market aspects, and under technical, operational and all others. And in next video we will discuss financial, economical aspects, and then we will discuss the appraisal, project appraisal. So thank you very much for joining in this video. We'll meet in next one. Thank you.